I'm gonna finish Michael Jordan.
So I started this drawing a while ago on TikTok Live. By the way, my TikTok account got hacked and deleted. That never happened to me before on any social media platform, so this was completely new and took me by surprise. They changed my password and my phone number linked to my account, and I didn't see it until it was too late. I did all the things to try to get it back, but at this point I just started a new account because I don't have the energy to get so attached to social media platforms. As a matter of fact, let's also talk about how to not be so attached to your artwork either. So recently, I was a vendor for a Black History Month event and I decided to sell my original artwork. This was a big deal for me because I've always shut people down when they ask me how much my original paintings and drawings were. I'd tell them they're not for sale, but I do sell prints of them on my website if you'd like one. Now that I think about it, I have gotten hired to do custom artwork more times than people have purchased prints, cheaper prints on my website. That just says like how my audience is very stubborn and wants custom artwork over prints. It's interesting. Anyways, for the rest of the video, I think what I'll do is just talk to you about my drawing process. So when I start a charcoal drawing, what I'll do is I'll first trace out my drawing in Procreate. After finding, my reference photo, I put it in Procreate. I'll trace out the outline, and I print out my tracing and use my big chunky projector to project it onto my paper or canvas. If I don't use my projector, I will sometimes use transfer paper and trace the drawing on that, and from there onto the paper or the canvas. I do that more so for smaller canvases and smaller pieces of paper. When tracing the outline out, I'll use a hard or medium charcoal pencil. I don't usually use graphite anymore, especially for tracing. I kind of left graphite alone ever since discovering charcoal. My reason being that I don't have great experiences using both types of pencils on the same drawing. It's like oil and water. Once graphite goes down on the paper, it's really difficult to draw over it with charcoal. I've seen other artists kind of mix with their drawings. I don't know how they do it. Maybe less pressure with using the graphite pencil. I don't know. I just like my charcoal. I like the depth of it. So anyways, when tracing, I don't use graphite and I also don't use vine charcoal because it just smudges off too easily. Maybe if I were drawing free-handed, it would be more convenient, but I like to be as precise and clean as possible with my lines and throughout my entire drawing process. So here you can see this piece of paper that I'm resting my hand on so that I can lean over the drawing and not smudge anything. When it comes to blending, I use a variety of different materials. The first thing being blending stumps like the one you see in my hand right now. Most of the time I use cheap makeup brushes and paint brushes to blend. I also use Q-tips, this pastel smudgy palette knife thingy, and a chamois cloth. It's spelt this way. That's the proper term for it, but it's the same thing as the cloth for cleaning your glasses. And then every now and then I'll just blend with my finger. After my drawing is complete, I'll take my kneading eraser and clean all around the drawing where the charcoal smudged. It's hard to say how long it takes me to do a drawing like this because I don't really keep track of the time. Also, I will start a drawing and go days, weeks, or months without touching it. But I believe I can get another drawing like this one done in about 1 to 3 days of concentrated work. After I put my pencil down and everything is done, then I'll put my signature at the bottom. I don't do it in the video, but I'm just explaining like the rest of my process. I'll examine the drawing, and if there's some charcoal specks I need to get off, I'll blow it away or use a can of that dust remover spray. Then I will take it outside and spray the sealant over the whole drawing. I try to keep a good distance away, and I'll even do some test spritz to make sure no blots of the sealant will stain the paper. If it doesn't come out evenly, it's going to show all of these little dots on your paper and it might stay there permanently. So when I spray the sealant, I make sure to spray it out a few times to make sure like it comes out evenly. Once the drawing is all dry, for making prints, I'll lay it flat on the floor or on my table or desk, and I'll take a few pictures of it using both my phone and my Canon EOS R5 camera. And then the final step is framing it. I typically get my frames from Walmart and Michaels. I do recommend taking the framing part seriously and investing in high quality frames, because I've noticed some of my drawings around the house that I put in older recycled frames from like Goodwill or someone gave to me, the paper has wrinkled. The paper that my drawing is on has wrinkled a little bit because the frame let humidity in during the summertime. Or if they are in glass frames, they're more susceptible to breaking, like this one, if you grab it the wrong way. I grabbed this one from just the corner and it was laying flat. I grabbed it from the corner to just put it onto a cart and it just cracked in my hands. So that's all I have for today. Maybe I'll do a more in-depth step-by-step video of my process and show all of my materials I use as well. If you want to see how the Black History Month event went, I'll put that video right here while the rest of this drawing video continues to the end. Last week I did something I never thought I would do as an artist. On February 28th, I was a vendor at a Black History Month event, and here's how it went. I really wanted to show up with some new artwork, but everyone close to me said to just bring what I already had. So I did, and I decided to sell my original artwork. But then I realized I overpacked. I filled up my table with all of my artwork and the space around it, and I couldn't figure out where to put the rest of my paintings. So the people facilitating the event suggested I put my artwork in the front where the panelists would be. It took everything in me to not decline because I didn't want to seem like I was taking up too much space. But as an artist and an entrepreneur, that's exactly what you have to do. I sold 2 paintings that night. One painting that everyone has always wanted, and surprisingly, a landscape painting that actually wasn't my favorite, but the customer said it spoke to her. She also offered me a job as an art teacher for the summer, but I'm still on the fence about it because y'all know how I feel about jobs. But it's art, so we'll see. When the event was over and we packed up everything, I ended up breaking the glass on my Chadwick drawing because I grabbed it by the corner. It's also an old recycled frame, so I'm not too upset about it. So we carefully packed the rest of the art pieces onto a cart to take back to my car. But then the saleswoman in me said, wait, I'm going to talk to the people in the kitchen. I want to pitch them on booking me for photos. I actually cold emailed this church last week, so this would be like a follow-up conversation. So I walked into the kitchen and spoke to the first woman who looked like she was with the church. Turns out she was the first lady of the church, and the email I sent went to the pastor's assistant and most likely was not relayed to him. So she gave me her personal email to pitch my idea to her. Then another lady came up to me as we were exchanging contact information and asked if I do paint parties. And I said, yes, I do. I actually do paint nights for churches and schools specifically. And she said, okay, we're going to need to hire you to do a paint night for the kids. Then after those 2 conversations, I went back to where my mom was and I told her I was ready to go. But I was stopped by the vendor that was next to me and she asked me what my Cash App was. And I showed her my scan to pay thingy. And as she was doing that, I just realized she's giving me money for some reason. So I asked her, what is this for? And she said, just a love donation to support your art. And then she invited me to be a vendor at her event that's coming up. So we finally made it out of the building and packed everything in my car. In my opinion, I feel the event went by so fast. If it was 1 hour longer, I would have had more time to meet the other vendors and network with other people. But overall, it was a great night and I feel like an empty cup that someone poured water into. It's been a long time since I've been outside socializing and networking, so this was refreshing to me. I feel like I got used to my artwork and creative skills because it surprised me how people reacted to my work. It's like that saying, if a tree falls in a forest and no one's around to hear it, did it ever really make a sound? This might be a stretch, but I feel like the tree. But instead of falling, I'm making amazing art with no one around to see it because I isolated myself. Did I ever make amazing art if no one has been around to see it? Anyways, it was a great reminder that I needed to get in my networking bag. Okay, that's it. Bye. All right, that's it. Have a good day. Go create something.